Good evening and welcome to Big Future Live. Today, we're talking about a topic that students like you have been asking for, internships and summer jobs. It's almost the end of the school year, and now's the time to start thinking about your summer plans. Hi, everyone. My name is Yoko. I use she, her pronouns, and I work on the Big Future team. Huge thanks to all of you at home joining tonight. We know you have a lot going on, and you could have been anywhere, and we're glad you decided to share this space with us today. For those who are new to Big Future Live, this is a series of virtual community events designed to help you plan for life after high school. Big Future Live is where you can get your answers to your burning questions so that you can plan your future your way. Tonight is going to fly by. In our short 30 minutes together, we're going to answer as many of your questions as possible, and we're going to have fun along the way. Before we get into it, tell us why you're here today. You're going to see a quick poll pop up on your screen. We want to know what you're most interested in learning about today. Do you want to know why internships are important? Are you looking for ways to find an internship, or do you need help preparing for an internship or summer job? So let us know. And while you're answering that quick poll, let's talk about how tonight is going to work. There is a ask a question box at the bottom of the screen where you can type in your questions. We have two college and career planning pros who are going to answer as many of your questions as possible live on camera tonight. And we have tons of students and caring adults in the room tonight. So unfortunately, we won't be able to answer all your questions, but we have also a team of Big Future staff on the back end who are fielding your questions and typing back responses. So there are two ways that your questions can get answered tonight, on camera or on type response. Students like you told us that you want more questions answered, and we listened. And lastly, the recording from tonight's event will be available later on demand at bigfuture.org/live. So if you miss anything during the event or you have to walk away from your computer or phone, don't worry. So let us take a look at that poll. Wow, overwhelmingly, 85% of you said you want to learn about how to find an internship. Then it's followed by about 10% of you want tips to prepare for an internship, and then lastly about why internships matter. So it seems like you all are here because you know internships matter and want to get tips on finding internships. Well, you are in the right place. That's enough for me. Let's meet our excerpt panelists for today, Symphony and Sakinya. I see you first, Symphony. I'll pass it to you for an introduction.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome. I'm excited to be here to share some great tips as students are preparing for the summer and looking forward to hearing your questions. My name is Symphony. I am a college and career coordinator from DC Public Schools, and I'm here to just share some great ideas and tips for you guys as you prepare.
And my name is Sakinya Welch, and I am a college and career coordinator at the illustrious Paul Laurence Dunbar High School in Washington, D.C. And my job is to help my students, and now you guys that's on this podcast thread, everything, just to try to help you figure out what you want to do with your summer and the internship. So any questions you have, fire away.
Thank you both for being here. We're excited to have you guys. To get us started tonight, I thought we'd play a little lightning round game of true or false. So we can do a thumbs up or thumbs down to test our knowledge about internships. So I'm going to read about 10 statements, and you're going to tell us if it's true or false, and then quickly explain why. Does that sound good to you guys? Cool. So
sounds good. Let's go.
Let's go. All right. So let me get this lightning round started. So, Symphony first. True or false? Interns only do grunt work.
That is 100% false. false. Interns do different type of work. Obviously, we often think about interns as doing the coffee runs and things like that. But interns can be extremely hands-on. Oftentimes, they can be really an integral part of the planning process in different offices or different companies. And so it just depends on the environment and the internship that you're working for.
Awesome. So Kenya, true or false? You can't include unpaid internship experience on a resume.
That is completely false. You can definitely include all of your unpaid internship experience on your resume. Any experience that you have that you are getting through unpaid internships, jobs, anything, volunteer work, definitely add that, because that adds character and lets jobs and colleges know that you're well-rounded.
Awesome. Next one, back to you, Symphony. True or false? The most well-known companies equal the best internships.
That is 100% false. So whether it's a mom and pop shop in your neighborhood or a big company such as like a Google or Microsoft, there's an internship experience and a valuable experience at all of those companies and places. And so it's important to think about what your interests and goals are and finding opportunities that are aligned to that.
Great. Back to you, Sakinia. True or false? Work experience can be just as valuable as internship experience.
That one is true. Definitely, work experience is just as valuable as a specialized internship. Again, like I said before, grades are just, if we're talking about going to college, grades are just one aspect of your complete portfolio. So any jobs you've had, I've had kids get scholarships writing about their babysitting exploits. So definitely everything you do outside of the classroom and inside of the classroom makes you a more well-rounded person, and definitely add that to your resume.
Oh, I love these tips. All right, back to you, Symphony. True or false? Your internship doesn't need to match your major.
That is 100% true. I think oftentimes students think that, well, I want to major in pre-med, so I need to internship at a doctor's office or at a hospital. But there's ways that you can find valuable experiences in different type of career fields. So I encourage you to open your eyes and open your mind as you think about what type of internships that are out there and finding what works for you and making it work.
All right. So Kenya, true or false? All internships are unpaid.
That is completely false. There are I will say most internships are unpaid, but like there are a great number of internships that are paid. Nike has a great paid internship. There are a lot of companies that have really good pay. Even like Stephanie said, the smaller mom and pop organizations and companies definitely have paid internship opportunities. Of course, those are people really want those, so it's going to be more. It's going to be harder to get those, but definitely there's definitely an option for you to get paid during an internship.
Great. Back to you, Symphony. True or false? Only college students can intern.
That is 100% false. Students from different type of post-secondary pathways, so whether you're going to college or maybe you're thinking about jumping directly into your career, you have multiple opportunities. Same with high school students, right? It's not just for college students. As a high school student, there are definitely opportunities out there. And so I encourage you to, speak with your school counselor, speak with individuals in your school buildings to learn about those options.
Awesome. The last three guys, true or false? Internships can sometimes lead to a job. Sakinia.
That is completely true. Definitely internships, especially on the college level. Once you do your internship, and if you do a really good job, that definitely can lead to a job within that same company, Or you put a really good word in for another company that you interned at company XYZ, and then company ABC sees that. So definitely internships do have a really strong connection with your first job.
What a great tip. Symphony, true or false? Colleges don't care about internships.
That is 100% false. I think, although not a requirement to attend college, internships do add a valuable experience and opportunity on your resume or your college application as a way to show that you are a well-rounded student. And so it is encouraged that students seek out those opportunities. But again, it's not mandatory. It's just an added bonus.
All right, take this home, Sakenya. Last one, true or false? Internships are totally worth it.
That is completely true. Definitely, the internships are really worth it on a multitude of reasons. I will get into some of those with the questions that we have, but definitely when you have an internship, whether it's directly correlated with your major or something brand new, it brings more experience to you. So if you have a chance to do an internship, I would definitely jump at it.
Thank you both for getting us started with this conversation, with this true or false game. Now I think our audience has some questions for you guys. So I'm going to pass the baton to you.
All right. You want to take the first one, Symphony? Or you want me to get it?
Awesome. Right. So we have Kent. His question is, what is the difference between an internship, apprenticeship, and volunteer work? So can you answer that for him?
Sure. Volunteer, we'll start going backwards. Volunteer work is pretty much anything you do for organization without pay. So you can volunteer at a pet shop. You can volunteer at a barber shop. You can volunteer at a hospital. So those are just experiences that you can get to add to your resume. An internship is similar to a volunteer, can be similar to a volunteer, but that one is more structured. You'll have an internship. During an internship, you have a coordinator or a manager or somebody that is directing your internship to give you direction, to teach you new things, and to really give you a little bit more direction than just a simple volunteer experience. An apprenticeship is a little bit more specific. Those are usually apprenticeships are with companies, not companies, sorry. Apprenticeships are for experiences with more hands-on experiences. Usually apprenticeships have with a glazer, people that work with glass, masons, people that work with masonry, so carpentry. There are also apprenticeships with IT firms. So those are more long-term things that usually are paid. You follow around a master technician in whatever field it is, and then that person you learn by watching that person, and then you start off doing smaller jobs. A little bit of what they're doing, and over the course of time, usually over maybe like 2 or 3 years, you become a certified pro in whatever the field of apprenticeship it is. One of the biggest apprenticeships that I usually have for one of my kids is called an apprentice school, and that one is a really good opportunity for kids that like to work with their hands but are really good technically. So definitely apprenticeships are harder to get, but they're paid. They're definitely paid, and you learn a lot from those. So you said the first question. So I will go to Sarita. I hope I said your name right. Somebody with the name Sakenya. I understand how it is to get your name messed up. So how do I know? Oops, I lost the question. There we go. How do I know which internship is the best for me?
That's a great question, Sakenya. I think, and thank you for your question. I think finding the internship is really around aligning what are your interests and what are your career goals. It also could be a place where, if you're not sure, trying different opportunities just to kind of get your hands wet to see what options are out there. So I think as you think about internship opportunities, first have an honest conversation with yourself about what is it that I am trying to accomplish as a career or as a opportunity once I leave the high school setting? And then thinking about what are some of the resources and opportunities within my network or within my community that you can start seeking. And so, start with having honest conversations with yourself and kind of thinking about, talking with maybe your school counselor or talking with someone at home, and having those type of career planning conversations can help you get a good foundational start. All right, so Kenny, I'm turning it over to you. What are some of this is Lavanya. What are some of the requirements of getting an internship?
That is a very good question, and it's a very broad question. It really all depends on like what the internship is. They vary depending on the company and what, like I said, what the internship is. It could be as simple as just doing a paper application and talking to a supervisor, or it could go into depth about having a resume, doing an interview, having a cover letter, and really talking about your experience in that field. So like I said, it could vary. So I would really start with like finding out, doing a little bit of research to figure out what that specific internship is required, and then go from there. So, we'll do Nazaya. She asked, I'm assuming this is she, but Nazaya asked, just in case, what are the benefits for internships?
Yeah, kind of similar to some of the other questions. I think internships provide opportunities to get insight into different career fields. It's a great way to build your resume. It's an opportunity to network. So to build your professional network, your personal network, it's also opportunity to do self-discovery. And so there's a great resource and tool with Big Future, which is called Career Quiz. And that could be a great place for you to start. Take a quiz to kind of see what are some of your career goals or some of your career interests. And then seeing like, okay, how can I turn these interests into an internship in order for me to get more understanding of a particular career path? I think it's a combination of, learning about yourself, learning about what opportunities are out there, and then figuring out how can you get some on the hand in person. It can also be a virtual internship experience depending on the company. It's just an opportunity to build your resume and build your profile. All right, Sakenya, I'm going to turn it back over to you. We have Maylin. The question is, what are some ways to network effectively during an internship? This is an awesome question, Maylin. I like that.
It is. And pretty much this is where your other skills come into play. When you are in your internship, you want to like be able to feel comfortable with your coworkers and supervisors to ask questions. There is no such thing as a dumb question. And I know that most of you have heard that before, and you're probably like, yeah. But like people, especially if you're in an internship and you're a supervisor, you have a supervisor or a coworker, they want to help you succeed. So like any questions that you have, like help them. Like they will love to help you, and like make sure you ask those. You really want to try to let your supervisor know like what your plans are for the future, even if it's not directly correlated with your internship. That you never know who that person might know. If you're doing an internship at a veterinarian clinic, but you might be interested in nursing, that person might know somebody that is in the nursing field that can connect you. So really like be open and honest with like what your future goals are. And really just the basic things, so being respectful, being timely, making sure that you carry yourself the way that the people, your supervisor, will want you to carry yourself. So we have a question from, sorry, um, Raina. Raina asks, would an internship or a summer job be a better option?
That's a great question, Raina. And I think that is all going to be depending on what your needs and what works best for you, right? And so there's ways to turn a summer job. I know some cities, depending on like your city and where you're from, you might have some type of SYEP or summer youth employment program. And oftentimes those summer jobs can be seen as internship experiences. It's really how you make the best of that situation. So if you currently have a summer job lined up, see what other things you can learn from that industry besides receiving, a summer paycheck, right? Again, it's about your needs, what works best for you. I don't think there's one that's better than the other. Just kind of find what's your best fit and roll with that. I think it looks like there's a question for both of us that we can answer together, Sakenya. One around the best way for for students to consider either full-time internships or how long do summer internships typically last. So maybe we can tag team on that one.
Okay. I think Omar had a question about the internship full-time, and then Rohan had a question about how long the summer internships are. So I'll handle Omar's. Does the internship have to be full-time? No, internship doesn't have to be full-time. And honestly, depending on your age, like we have both of us, Stephanie and I work with high school students primarily. And so their internships really can't be full-time, as in our job, 40 hours a week full-time. So most internships they use, even during the summer, most of our students work anywhere between 4 and 5 hours a week. And that's big. They can be between 1 to 2 hours a week. It really depends. But most internships are not full-time.
Nice. And for Rohan, how long are summer internships usually? Typically, again, you're looking at around the months of June and July. Some may run into August, so at the running into the beginning of the school year. It really just depends on the program, whatever. Sometimes certain cities have requirements for their internships if it's a citywide internship. But typically, you're looking at your summer months of June and July. And so, yeah, that's pretty much the summer experience.
All right. So we have another group of questions that I think we can lightning round. We have questions from Ayaris. Should I email places to ask for internships? Maya asks, what is the best way to reach out to companies which may offer internships? And Abigail is asking, is there any way we can use LinkedIn to network with others and secure internships?
I'm going to start with Abigail's question around LinkedIn. This is one of my favorite things. So Abigail, great question. I think as a high school student, LinkedIn is a perfect place to start. You're never too young to create a LinkedIn profile. And that can just be a baseline. Make a professional profile. Actually, I would even encourage you to start with a professional email. So if you feel like your email needs to be updated to something that you can email employers or reach out to people, start with that and then make that professional profile. You can tailor it to your interests. You can make it as engaging or you can make it as simple as you want. But it's a great way to kind of put yourself out there in the virtual world. And it's also a great place for employers and different companies to seek high school students. And oftentimes they will start with a LinkedIn profile. So yeah, great question. Definitely start with the LinkedIn page.
All right, and so I'll go up with Maya, and I'll just double team with Ayaris's question. Should you email places to ask for internships? The answer is yes. Definitely email is very professional. I would say, but I wouldn't just stick with an email. You can definitely call, or even if depending on the place, show up in person. So definitely like put yourself out there. Don't just stick with just an email and then hope and pray. And then Maya asked, what's the best way to reach out to companies which may offer internships? And just the same thing. Really find out what their process is. It could be from if there's a published internship, there's probably like a application process. But even if a company doesn't have anything published, definitely reaching out by email, asking the actual HR department that, hey, do you guys offer any internships and what the process is? So definitely reach out to different companies and people, and then you can find things out that way.
All right, we're going to take our last question. It's from Mark. Mark asks, what's a good way to make a first good impression for an internship?
So, Mark, I think the main thing is to, when you first get an internship, your first day, it's better to be overdressed than underdressed. So definitely a pair of khakis, a button-up shirt, a polo shirt, a regular pair of shoes, something that sort of like shows that you are a professional, depending on where your internship is. And then really be punctual. Being 15 minutes early is being on time. That my football coach said being early is being on time, and being on time is late, and late is unacceptable. So I've tried to take that into consideration when, especially your very first time to make a good impression. Always be early. That just shows that you're ready to be a good worker, to learn, and that is really those things that stick with employers and your internship coordinator is, of course, how well you do the work, but like how serious you take it. Especially as a young person, it's really stands out once you see that employer sees that you are a growing professional.
And I think to add to that, Sakinya, I will also say, don't be afraid to ask questions and lean in on areas, even if it's not necessarily assigned to your internship, but it's maybe an area of interest. Don't be afraid to lean in and see if this is an area where you can actually learn a different skill or meet someone in a different department. You never know how those little connections, those little moments can turn into a long-lasting impact.
Wow, guys, time flew by super fast. The advice you gave was so great. I wish 16-year-old me heard all those kind of gems that you guys spoke about. As customary as it is for us on Big Future Live, we would love to finish tonight's session with a last question with you both. When it comes to high school internships, what advice would you give your 16-year-old self?
I'll start because I think that Symphony's is going to be a lot more profound than mine. I would tell myself to don't sell yourself short. I was the type of student that just assumed that I wasn't going to get it, so I didn't put myself out there to even attempt to do it. So I would definitely tell my 16-year-old self to put myself out there. And like the worst thing that can happen is somebody says no, and I'm in the same position I am right now. So definitely put yourself out there and try to do new things.
Yeah, I think for myself, I would probably say it's okay to be different and do something different. And although your peers might have opinions about what you should do or what they think is best, be okay and be comfortable in what you think you would like to do, right? So find things that are aligned to your interests and goals, and don't be afraid to challenge yourself. And it's okay not to go with the status quo all the time.
So great. Be courageous. Don't be afraid. Thank you so much, both of you for joining us tonight, and all the students and caring adults in our audience. Thank you for being here tonight. We love to hear how tonight's session went. After the event closes, you'll be automatically redirected to a feedback survey, so please complete it and help us make our future events even better. And if you missed any parts of today's session, don't worry. You can view the recording and sign up for our next Big Future Live event for Latino students about how to start a college list at bigfuture.org/live. Thank you, everyone. Have a great night.